Okay, here's an interesting topic. When should finances be considered a true challenge? And I say this is interesting because so many practitioners, health practitioners, we've got this mindset of thinking that health should be awarded to everyone and that we should be the one to give that out, whether we get paid or not. And that's nonsense. You can't have a true business with that. And no one's going to be compliant with what you ask them to do if there's not been an exchange of value. And I think we've gone over this enough to everyone understands that. That mindset's been put in place to benefit insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, and that's the end of the story. I don't need to get in that any further. But here's the deal. When you work with someone, there are going to be a percentage of people that come to you that finances is a real, true challenge that would prevent them from moving forward. Now, when I say a true challenge, one that would prevent them is different than financing being a challenge. Finances is a challenge with just about everyone, okay? Depending on how we budget. Most people don't know how to budget well. So it's not whether the money is available, it's where we're budgeting our money, and it's the same with them. And it's kind of a rule of thumb when I work with people. If someone has a cell phone, I consider them most likely a candidate. And the reason I'm saying this is the majority of Americans today find a way to pay an ongoing, just ongoing, every month for the rest of their life. They're accepting a payment for this tool that in 99% of the cases doesn't have anything to do with the necessity of driving business for themselves, earning an income. It's simply a chat tool. Yes, I understand, hey, it's safe to have a phone today, we can get in trouble. Well, it's always been that way in the world, and somehow we got away with it without having it. So people pay, up front to have this phone, they pay insurance, and then they're paying a minimum of $60, $70 a month, maybe up to $100. And depending on the plans they have, they might also have an iPad or something like this. And at the end of the month, they're paying $130, $140 every month. That's a willingness to put that into the budget. Health is the same way. And so you're going to have to be very careful and listen what people are saying as you go through, because when that comes down to it, typically we find that this is the true challenge after we've gone through the entire report, we've gone through the challenges, and then we get to the end, and here's the dollar amount, and then this comes up to, there's no way I can do that. Okay, so let's take this apart a little bit, and we have to hear what they're saying. Okay, so most people do know what their budget is, and most people, if, for example, if they went to get a phone, a cell phone, back to the cell phone, and they said, okay, yeah, here's the cell phone, it's $300, and then here's the plan you want. Okay, that's going to be $78 a month. Those people that are selling the phone, what they don't hear is, you know what? I really like that. I'm going to have to go check my budget and get back to you tomorrow. That doesn't happen. It's like, okay, well, that plan, if I want more time, what is that one? Well, that one's 85. Yeah, I think I'm going to need the more time. I'll take that one. It's a decision made, and it's made right then and there because they feel they need the phone. So they see value in it, and they see that that's an acceptable rate of exchange. And it's okay to have a phone. But what I'm saying is, don't let someone, because of the communication, disrupt what the real challenge is. And if you don't hear it, it may be simply a value. So when we get to the investment part of it, remember one of the things you're going to ask them, let's talk about challenges. I understand that finances can be a challenge. We'll get to that if we need to, meaning that we're not going to cover finances if we don't completely agree on everything else, and that, hey, we're moving forward today. And so when I get into the plan, the only thing left is if I'm going to move forward, I'm going to have to see, once I understand, okay, here's the investment price, it's $5,000. Do I still see that as an investment with what you've just described to me? For me to resolve, this is what it should come down to. It's not what I'm getting for it. It's not what you're giving me. It's not the treatments. It's none of that stuff. It's your ability as a practitioner to help me, empower me to come to a resolution of what's disrupting my life. Is the $5,000 fair value to have that altered. And if the answer is yes, I'm going to do whatever I can as that prospect to become a new client, become a new member, and figure out a way to make certain I get that covered. So if you hear, well, it all depends on the cost. It all depends on the cost, doctor. What they've just said to you, I'll only do it if the expense of this will work out for me right now that I feel that I want to put in my budget, that I want to feel. Notice the word cost is not investment. So if I were selling that person Apple stock, then they would not see an exchange the same way. They would not see what does it cost? Okay, what am I going to expend on that? What they would say is, how much can I invest? How much do you have available, Mrs. Johnson, to invest right now in Apple stock? Well, honey, I think we could probably put park $5,000 over there as our investment to earn a return on. So when we do get to, if I hear some of these things, I recognize it can be a challenge. And then when I get to investments, if I ask, so let's talk about the investment, but let me ask you this first. Putting money into your health, Mrs. Johnson, do you see that as an investment or do you see that as an expense? And the reason I ask you this is earlier on you said it depends on the cost, and cost assumes that it's an expense and not an investment. Would you categorize that correctly? Well, no, I see this as investment. Okay, great. So what you're saying is you feel that what you put into your health is going to come back more so. In other words, whatever we put over there is a better place than we could put it somewhere else because the return is going to be great at that. Is that how you see that? Make certain that's clear, because if they see this as an expense, you got a problem. You got a situation, and they'll come to the conclusion, I can't afford it. But that's not really the correct conclusion, because they could afford to put $5,000 into an investment. They just can't afford to lose it. Do you see the difference? So if it's in my health and they think that, well, I'm going to lose the $5,000, that's what it costs to get the treatment. We haven't communicated the message properly. So make certain that they understand. Have you invested into your health before on a regular basis? For like your phone, for example, you do monthly payments on that. Are you doing something like that for your health? Because if we don't, over time we build up a debt, just like the IRS debt. So they have to start thinking that way. So then it becomes, okay, I get it. Do you feel that it's okay? Do you feel that the right thing to do is to invest in yourself? Do you feel that you should be doing that? Do you feel guilty about that? So we've got to make certain that the communication comes. And then when it comes to that, they accept, doctor, I do see the value. I believe that what we're offering here. And what am I offering? Well, there's this. No. That just happens to be part of what it's going to take to help resolve you. What we're offering is so you no longer have to carry those 30 pounds around and have the, I know you're not feeling good about yourself. It's hurting your back. Your energy's down. What we're talking about is getting your sex drive back. What we're talking about is helping mend the relationship that you have. What we're talking about is getting the elasticity back in the skin because of the toxin. Get them to understand what the resolution is. So that's what the exchange is for. So then you're on the budget part. So at this point in time, if they say something like, well, that's a lot of money. Well, $5,000 to invest in Apple is a lot of money too, but I'm not losing it. Yes, it's a lot of money. It's an investment. So the same thing. That's just the statement. Well, that's a lot of money. Yes, it's an investment. And so when they move forward, it's, can we do this? Can I prepay? No, we don't have the ability to do that. I got you. Can we make 3 payments? Not right now. Our budget doesn't allow, whatever reason, and then you go to the financing. So when it comes to a point to where you recognize that, you know what, these people simply can't move forward, and it's not right for me to move them forward because financially they can't do it. So if I come to the conclusion that, doctor, we really want to do it, but here's the deal. Between my wife and I, we're only earning about $2,300 a month right now. We didn't know what your program was going to cost. We didn't know what the investment was. We want to do it. We want our health back, but that's where we are now. And between our house payment, there's just nothing left. You know what? I got it. And you're right. Right now, you can't. But I'm always here. My doors are always open. Let me sign you a book. Let me have you something you can leave with. And perhaps, we can talk about maybe something just to go through as a starting point to get to understand yourself a little bit better, maybe the educational classes. So we can talk about that little. Maybe you have a program that's real small, $1,700 or something like that you can help them and give them an opportunity. But those are the people that they can't move forward, or someone that actually has to have a financing option, but they say, you know what, we just filed bankruptcy last year, here's where we are. So there's reasons for it, and it's okay to bring those out, because when you're talking about financing and they're letting you know that they have to go home and think about it, go, I get that, and of course you're welcome to go do that. That's your right to do that. But let me ask you this, here's the logic I see. When it comes to financing, in other words, we're ready to go, and that was the sticking point, it's either due to the value or the budget. And I don't know which one that is. Do you feel that this is an investment? Do you feel that if we work together and we help resolve this, is that $5,000, is that a better place to park it than anywhere else? Oh yeah. So it's the budget then, and I know you're smart people, you know what your budget is. So that's our sticking point, right? Because I want to make certain I answer the questions that I can, because I'm the only one in the room that can help resolve this. And I can't go home and think about it with you if it's value or budget, and we know it's one of those. So I want to help you and give you time, but which one is it? It's not this one, so it's budget. So tell me, are you concerned about being able to get the financing? Because I know that can be tough sometimes, credit companies tear us up sometimes. Yeah, that's what it is, Doc. And they'll be honest with you. So when the time comes where we recognize that financially they're honest with you and they don't have the ability, don't push them, make certain you end the relationship well. But if you don't get to that point and they're just simply telling you that it's a money problem, you don't really know. And if you don't find out, you're not going to ever get to a point of understanding, are you failing communicating properly? And this is why this is so important. You're not in a position to manipulate anyone. That's called malice, okay? You are in a position to help communicate a message so they can make a logical decision. Most people have gone through life making not so smart decisions concerning their health, and they've got to a point where financially it can bankrupt them. That's a bad place to be. It's destroying their relationships, their ability to work hard. So if they leave and they didn't see what you're offering as value, then you failed to communicate what the true outcome is going to be, and you didn't persuade them with intellect and logic. So really go back and watch my report of findings a few times, and then you decide, did I sell them? No. I made it very clear that I was helping them make a logical decision, and I wasn't going to move forward if the challenges weren't removed completely and we all agreed that this is going to be the right path. And when you do it that way, the people that move forward will always look back and say, thank you for helping me understand the value in this, doctor. It was the best investment ever made. And the people that you know is not right to move, because it's been very clear that there is a financial burden here. Or maybe it was the value and nothing you can do, are they going to see it? They just don't see the value in putting anything into the health. But that's not very common, because that's already been pulled off the table and they probably wouldn't be in your office at that time. So you will get some of those people. It's okay. Make certain you end the relationship well. Make certain you give them something and let them know my door's always open, so in the future when things get better, they can get back in. So I know this will help you. Go back, review it a couple times, enjoy those clients, and do not hesitate and be afraid to pull out what you need to, because if they go home and you didn't pull that out, they got nothing to talk about, because it's either value or budget, and they can't figure that out without you in the room, okay?